So I thought I'd do a video about this now since this is really interesting. I watched this Sabine Hossenfelder video the other day all about UAPs, and she's saying that actually the evidence for UAPs is fairly compelling, and that obviously no one is willing to work on it because it would be a career killer instantaneously. You'd lose all credibility for suggesting that extraterrestrials are visiting us. And it would, cause an outrage, really. The evidence is there. She's talking about how there are these phenomena that show up in telescope imagery, and they appear in one frame and then disappear in the next frame, and so they must be moving from a stationary position to high speeds really quite rapidly. And this is very often what these sorts of phenomena kind of depict. I think about craft that see like idling for a bit and then accelerating very rapidly to somewhere entirely different. And I think that I've never really entertained this kind of thinking, and I don't really agree all that often with people who do claim that aliens have visited us, or that aliens have visited us in the past, or things like this. I don't believe in all this ancient alien stuff, really. And like this Commander David Graeber, is it? Saw that sort of tic tac object floating above the sea, and that accelerated very quickly to, to high speeds. And yeah, I treat all this stuff with a great deal of caution and suspicion. But hearing Sabine Hossenfelder talking about it and talking about how these objects, in no way resemble asteroids or anything like this, I am tempted to think that it might be slightly more possible and a little bit more credible than a lot of people have suggested in the past. And, maybe it is even possible that we're being visited by some highly advanced life form that also exists in the galaxy. I once ran the Drake equation to try and figure out how many alien civilizations there would be in the galaxy. And from 120 billion stars in the Milky Way or so, um, it comes out something like 72 civilizations. Or in one variant, I think, of the Drake equation, that's what the resulting figure was. So yeah, it might be possible even. And I also did at one point see this image of what looked like the surface of an alien world, taken from space above that world. I saw that on a flat Earth group once, and I started to become convinced that we had discovered an alien civilization. I happen to believe that I've got quite a strong ability at detecting AI images and contrived images. And this image did not look like a contrived image. It looked like something which had emerged for some reason um, in a flat Earth group on Facebook. But again, it's hardly a credible source, is it? I don't know. I don't know. I think the idea of alien civilizations is an incredible idea. It, it stirs a deep sort of passion within me, thinking about what alien civilization or what alien life might be like. I think it's really, really exciting stuff. I think it's really, really cool. And with all these UAPs and so on, maybe I'd be more inclined to believe that visitors from alien worlds have come here. And I think that if they're alive as well and intelligent and civilized and have advanced technology and all these things we usually associate with aliens, I think they would be interested in coming to our planet and seeing it. And I think, it could be the case that we don't know all this yet because we do sort of actually. I mean, we've studied the atmospheres of exoplanets, and quite a few of them seem like they would be quite good candidates for life. We found things like dimethyl sulfide in the atmospheres of alien worlds, and this seems to be a legitimate discovery, a discovery made with fairly high confidence. And yeah, I perhaps we're not alone. It's an amazing thing to think about. It really is. For so long we've had this kind of erroneous notion that aliens could never exist, or that we're probably the only life form in the galaxy, of the galaxy is probably very sterile and devoid of life, like most of the solar system seems to be. And we're not going to discover life, and there's kind of pessimism about it, I think. Or maybe it's a deep-seated desire to not discover another intelligent life form, you know, out of fear more than anything else, fear of the unknown, um, fear of possibly them wanting to exploit our planet, which I don't think they would want to. I don't think they would invade. I don't think it'd be like Independence Day or anything like this, where they're trying to go after our natural resources or whatever. I don't think if they could travel here, they probably wouldn't need our natural resources. I wouldn't have said. They'd be propelling all their spacecraft using nuclear fusion, I imagine, or something like this, or some form of propulsion that we haven't yet discovered or mastered. Um, and yeah, I don't think we would have all that much to offer them, but it's a compelling thing to think about. I think from just looking at the history really of UAPs, and these phenomena have existed for a very long time. They don't seem to want to harm us at all, I wouldn't have said. Um, and yeah, this stuff is showing up in the data in our telescopes and surveys of the night sky and so on. And it's very exciting stuff, I have to admit. Very, very exciting indeed. And 72 alien civilizations possibly in the galaxy. That's a very interesting thing to think about, I think. And it's very interesting to try and conceptualize what that might amount to in practice and what these creatures might be like. And I think that life is probably quite abundant in the galaxy, life of all forms. And, there might be huge abundance and variety within the Milky Way galaxy alone, and hence within the universe at large. And yeah, I always suspected that it wouldn't be possible for aliens to travel the huge distances across interstellar space in from one part of the Milky Way to another part. I always suspected that would be highly problematic, and you got things like the speed of light limit and what have you, and that would ultimately limit how fast the aliens could travel. Um, and you've got huge distances to travel, and you can't go straight away to light speed. You've got to, well, not with humans anyway. You've got to sort of accelerate quite slowly to light speed if you can reach light speed at all. If the ship doesn't just disintegrate or something, which I thought might be possible, but perhaps I don't think that now. Perhaps my opinion on the underlying physics is sort of shifting a bit. But anyway, it's very, very exciting stuff to think about UAPs. And I think it's more legitimately scientific than I'd previously given it credit for. And I think it should be very much, an astrobiological concern, and that astrobiology should become more established in the mainstream of science. And yeah, we need to devote more time and energy, I think, to thinking about the realities of what life, intelligent or otherwise, could amount to in the universe, and put a lot more time and effort into trying to make these discoveries, and sponsoring projects like the James Webb Space Telescope and stuff to study the atmospheres of alien planets, and yeah, try and make this discovery, because I mean the discovery of life outside our solar system is a huge deal anyway. It's a huge and important discovery. Um, Alien civilizations, that would be the greatest discovery we'd ever made, I think. And you know, that would radically that would radically shift scientific paradigms, and you know, it would unite humanity, I think, and it would be a, you know, a great and challenging new epoch of discovery that we'd be entering as a result of that. But I think I've said enough about this. It's more credible than I previously suspected. Just to summarize, you know, and the evidence seems to be strong for UAPs. They don't appear to be natural phenomena like asteroids, and yeah, science has to catch up with the data now and come up with some sort of explanation for these phenomena, if it isn't indeed alien life forms visiting our planet. So yeah, that's roughly what I want to say. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Love you lots.